Hello and welcome to Off Track, sponsored by Noble Dude Clothing. I'm your host, Dave Neal, and in this, our third of 4 shows from Cadwell Park, Puchetti Racing Moto2 Kawasaki World Supersport campaigner Ben Currie joins us for an insight into what's turned out to be one of the most difficult seasons of his career, and one that has made the likeable Aussie take stock of the choices he's made and where the path ahead leads to. It's a conversation where Ben opens up on his darkest times and the difficulties he's faced both physically and mentally to continue chasing his dream of winning World Supersport races and the world title. These boys and girls who we love to watch are still only human. They have good times and difficult times, and this is one of those difficult times for Ben. It's not the easiest of stories to listen to, but I'm grateful to Ben for giving us the opportunity to tell the story. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Ben Currie.
Let's get cozy.
You get cozy, man. You get cozy. We're recording now already, you see.
Now you're going to have to do some snipping straight off the bat.
So I'm going to go straight in now. There's none of this trying to start it and then not. So we might as well go straight in. Hello and welcome to Off Track. I'm your host, Dave Neal, and I'm absolutely delighted to say, in the joys of Cadwell Park, sat outside the Rich Club Hospitality Unit, Puchetti Racing Moto2 World Supersport contender, Ben Currie. Welcome, mate.
Yeah, thank you. Contender. I haven't heard that for a while. I haven't been contending for much back there in 20th place, but it's been all right.
You're out there, mate.
I'm taking part at the moment, but we're just grinding, pushing hard to try and get to where I know I can be. And it's been tough, but it's enjoyable still, which is good.
That's the main thing. The fact that you're enjoying it. And it's since we spoke back at the NEC before Christmas when the news had come out and we had a chat about what going forwards and what you were going to do and how you were going to do it, the season didn't quite get off to the best of starts for you.
Yeah, a lot's changed since then, let's just say. And obviously, you know, Dave, that I went out to Spain, did pre-season training and jumped off a motocross bike in a pretty big way and broke my back, essentially. Separated my L1 vertebrae, split down the middle of it, cracked a couple other vertebrae, and unfortunately was in a pretty bad way before the season even started. So stuck in Barcelona in hospital for a couple of weeks, had a pretty big back surgery. Everything went to plan. They rodded it up, screwed it in place, and then I just began the recovery process really straight away. From it was pretty fantastic really in Barcelona. They were awesome there, and I had a really good doctor that working on me straight away. So yeah, it was tough, but I mean, I was in good hands and I'm now out the other side of it.
I remember seeing the photos. The one particular photo looks like you've had a zip inserted down your spine.
Yeah.
It was incredible to see that, but then for the recovery that you've made since is testament to you and the fitness that you have. Talk us through what it was like on the recovery side of things as you sat at home, and obviously it's not... of all the things, you know, with the femur or something like that, or a tib fib, you've got a bit of mobility, but with a back injury, it takes on a whole different meaning, doesn't it?
It's tough because the back is like the core part of your body where everything is you don't realise how much everything's relying on your back and back muscles, spine. It literally runs your whole body. So when you compromise that area, it's brutal. But the recovery started straight away. The day after surgery, they were like, right, you know, we can try and get you to your feet now, which I was quite surprised. Yeah. Because obviously I was laying in bed, not moving a muscle for some time. It was like 8 weeks. Just staring at the same dot in the wall on the roof. 8 days. Sorry, did I say 8 weeks? Yeah. 8 days.
8 days.
8 days. Just
might
still.
Have all felt like 8 weeks.
Literally still before surgery because I was unstable. So the wrong movement could have been detrimental to me, you know, for the long term. So it was quite a risky. The whole thing was risky. The surgery was risky. The waiting around for surgery, but after surgery, once everything went A-OK, we could start moving on with the recovery. And the recovery was, the first step was to get on my feet, because I haven't been on my feet for like 2 weeks now. That was the tough bit. In surgery, I lost a lot of blood. I lost too much blood. So when I actually got sat up for the first time, I had no energy, no strength. I went dizzy. And I got anemia, which is like not enough iron in the blood.
Not enough iron in blood, yeah.
Yeah. So I was passing out and I didn't have the strength just to sit up in bed, let alone stand up. So I had to have a blood transfusion then. So that put me back a little bit. So once I had the blood transfusion and the bottles of iron pumped into me, then the recovery really started another few days later. So it was a tough time in hospital for sure, but the key was to get out of there and get back home to start the proper rehab. So I had to put in the graft to try and walk around the hospital to get back on my feet and show them that I was strong enough. So literally after that the blood transfusion, it really, like, it was kicking on from there. I literally walked down the hallway the next morning. I was allowed walk down the hallway on my feet with a frame. Went up and down a few times, and then I thought I might try that with some crutches. Tried that with some crutches, and then when the doctors weren't looking, I went down without the crutches and the Zimmer frame. But it was good because I was able to quickly get out of there.
Typical motorcycle racer thing?
To be honest with you, it turned into a boot camp because I was there and I thought, well, this is all I've got now. Each day, each hour that goes by is just going to be focused on getting fit and healthy. So I thought every minute that I can, make the most of will be a minute quicker than I can get back on the bike. So that was my attitude. I was just fully focused on trying to get back as quick as I could and not be out for too long because I knew it was a big injury, but I just didn't know how big it was going to be. So I just thought, right, put my head down and just go for it. And that's what I did. And I got out of the hospital a few days later, and I was back on a plane, just slugging it back to the UK. Just thought I need to get back to the UK into my house. Yeah. And then I'll be all right.
Familiar surroundings, yeah. Kirsty, and everybody helping out, family, get back into the four walls that you know best. How many rounds did you miss? 3.
3 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 rounds, all the testing. So,
which is equally as important.
Yeah, I had 2 days on track in January, and I missed 5 days of testing after that. So, and then the first 3 rounds, so massively behind the 8 ball.
That's a lot of mileage to miss out on.
It's a lot in any case, but when you go to the World Championship for your first year, and you got to learn the tracks, and you got to learn the bike, the tyres, the team. 1 day on track with the team is not enough, especially the 4th round into the championship, when the best guys in the world are absolutely on the money from the get-go. Yeah. So you're just giving away a massive advantage straight away.
What was it? We'll come on to the racing side of it in a little while. What I want to sort of ask, if you don't mind, through the time in the hospital and then coming back home, one thing that interests me is, especially from a motorcycle racer's perspective, you guys, your mental strength is one of your biggest strengths as a motorcycle racer, because without it you wouldn't do what you did. Did that time affect you more than you expected, or were you of the mindset, well, this has happened, let's kind of deal with it? What was it like in your head at that time?
That was, to be honest with you, mentally I was absolutely fine, because I knew I had no other option. So it's like when you're dealt the cards, it is what it is. So you've just got to get on with it, and crying about it and whatever else is not going to help the situation, and negative energy is not going to help. You need to be
You're
positive.
a positive guy anyway.
You've got to be super positive, and you've got to do the right things. So if you don't do the right things, you're not going to get back. And this job sort of lends itself to being, you got to be tough mentally. Because if you don't, well, you're not going to survive in this game, because you're going to get hurt, you're going to get beaten, and you've got to be able to take that all on board. So during that process was actually quite simple for me, because I could just get stuck into it, and I don't mind a bit of hard work. I've been in this situation before in my career, and I'm sure I'll probably be in it again before I finish. So I knew it's part and parcel of the game, so that was fine. The biggest issue that I've had mentally is now.
Yeah.
Like this time, coming back racing, not getting the results that I want, coming back to some sort of fitness, being able to ride the bike how I want to ride the bike, and not get the results is super tough, because you put so much into it and so much hard work to have this opportunity and then take the opportunity, and when it's not quite working for you, it's very tough. So now we're in a summer break and I've had 5 weeks off. I've never found it more hard to be motivated, to be happy, to enjoy what I'm doing.
That's difficult to hear.
It's something I've not really said much about. I've just sort of the last week or so sort of said to a couple of people, do you know what? This is the hardest point in my career right now. not the injury, not the rehab. This point, you know, I've gone out on a limb to be in the World Championship. You know, I left right on the top of my game. I've taken a huge step to try and make the next step in my career, and it hasn't quite worked how I want it to work. Obviously, there's factors involved for sure, but yeah, it's a pretty tough pill to swallow. But again, it's just another challenge. You just got to look at it. I'm sure many riders have been in this situation. Like, I look around now in BSB, I look whatever class it is, somebody's having a tough time. Such is the nature of the game. Yeah, someone's not where they expected to be, and it's super tough mentally, especially when it's your life. So,
yeah, well, that's the bottom line, isn't it? This is the racing side is the life. I know you have a day-to-day job as well that you work on, but the racing is far more important because that's what you do. You work to go racing, and to do it that way. From this point that you're at, what's the next step for you to become happy?
Super simple. Just
where do you go
wherever
with it from here?
I am, wherever I decide to go, or whatever opportunity comes, is can I win on that package? Can I win doing that? And it's just about returning back to winning. I want to go racing wherever it is, and I want to win races. That's number one on the list. And then the second thing on the list would be, it now has to be beneficial for me, because I've gone out on a massive limb to go World Championship, travelling around the world, living this bloody lifestyle. It's very costly, a cost that I was willing to make and knew about. But now, the first thing I want to do is, the next step that I take is, I want to be competing for race wins, and then the financial side of things needs to be a little bit more tidy, for sure. But that comes part and parcel with winning.
Of course it does. Here's a question then. Was World Superbikes a bigger risk than you originally thought?
It's hard to know, really, like, before you do it. I would say, yeah, probably a bigger risk than I thought. But looking back at it, the odds are massively stacked against me before I even start. So it's one of them, like, even if I had predicted, I would have never been able to predict the situation that I'm in. You know, when I went in January to the test in Jerez, the team were like thinking, right, okay, we're gonna have a good year. Yeah, we're gonna challenge. Yeah, it's half a second off the factory, boys. You know, first time in Jerez in 7-8 years.
It's not
rolled
easy.
out.
It's not an easy track either.
Rolled out, was on the pace. Bike was mega. Team was working good. Language barrier was a little bit of an issue, nothing too major. And I thought, here we go. But then obviously, yeah, what happened, and it's sort of just not materialised after that.
How have the team been?
The team have been fantastic. They've supported me 100%. They had a fill-in rider and didn't replace me, and were really buzzing and looking forward to me getting back into the action. But I think it's now coming to a point where the team want more. I want more. They can see that I'm trying hard. It's not a matter of them losing faith in me, because they have faith in me, because that's why I'm there.
Yeah, sure.
They wanted me to be there. You got the ride in
the first place.
Yeah. So, and they know what I'm capable of from the first test that I've done with them. So, yeah, it's just a little bit tough, obviously, because we both want more. I want to win. You know, they want to get good results. So it's tough. But yeah, it's let's just say it's tough and leave it at that. It's tough.
So what we got? 5-6 rounds left? 5 rounds?
I think 6 rounds.
It's something like that, isn't it? What are you looking forward to most? As difficult as it is now, what's keeping you motivated? The level of motivation that you've got, what's keeping you pushing on now? What are you looking forward to the most as regards the rest of the season? We're looking at sort of Phillip Island, and going home,
exactly,
and being able, and the results just aren't there, are they? And that's the missing link.
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to before the end of the season, and what's that missing link to move into the points top 10
I'm looking forward to getting to Australia to race. Like my home race, not far from my house, friends and family some friends that have never seen me race before. All my family, my aunties, my uncles that haven't, seen me race in person, my nan, even though she probably won't come. That's a special feeling, and I'm holding on to that feeling that I'm going to go and have my home race. It's not the be-all and end-all, because obviously there's 5 other races before that. So the missing part will be just being comfortable on the bike, riding how I know I can ride and in a way I can ride. But at the minute, we're just going a little bit all over the place, settings, riding styles, got to change this, got to change that. But, coming back from this sort of like injury, things have had to change a little bit, and riding styles, and then building and progressing back up in, back to full race pace. Because I would honestly say it hasn't been many rounds, probably maybe one round where I've, the last round Most, where I've started to feel comfortable and able to push hard. So I haven't even been able to do that yet. So the missing link is to like consistently push hard and then start to make steps forward. And if I can get into those points like that, I'll be very happy.
Has the injury compromised your riding style at the moment, or does it continue to do so?
It did, but I made some changes to the bike, seating position, and some little bits and pieces to help that. So that's sort of helped me get the flow and be comfortable again. So yeah, it did initially. It did change the riding style a little bit, but now it's all good. I can ride how I know. Will
that improve over time as well? Will the flexibility as the injury continues to? I know it's pretty good now. Is there anything further that they've got to do? Have they got to take anything out, or are you pretty much done with surgery?
It depends really. I want to see where I am at the end of the year physically. At the moment, the mobility side of things and stuff's really, it's fine.
Yeah,
I'm hinging quite fine. I can't arch my back or anything like that, but it doesn't affect me too much. But yeah, there's talk about taking it out, but there's also talk about maybe leaving it in. It's risk versus reward, recovery time, all that sort of stuff that we've got to take hugely into account. But for me, I just want to get through this last part of the season. If I'm feeling good and fit and it's not affecting me, I don't really want to have a surgery again, because then it's more recovery time and it's just risk.
Yeah,
that I'd rather not have, and I'd rather go into the pre-season and have a mega pre-season, go to Spain, go riding on whatever bike that I'm going to be riding, train hard, be super fit, and be focused and ready, and not have to have that sort of thing on my mind.
Have you, as a rider, as is a rider's one a lot of the time, when you rolled out of pit lane for the first time after the injury, was it a sense of relief or was it a sense of determination? Oh, that's a good question. Look at that. That's made you frown. Yeah.
First time after the injury.
First time after the injury, coming back out, because sometimes you can be like, thank God I'm back, or right now I've got shit to do. We have an agenda that we need to adhere to. What was that?
The determination was high.
I know you well enough. I know your character, so I kind of thought that might be the answer, but I just wanted to make sure.
The determination was really high, and it was different things were motivating me at different points of my recovery.
Yeah,
people telling me I can't do this, I can't do that, or
like what?
Like race returning, returning at certain time frames that I had in my head. That maybe were a little bit ambitious for sure, but that like really drove me hard. And then when I got back to the bike, it was like, okay, I'm back, and it was a relief to a certain extent, but it was also a lot of like anxiousness and excitement, because it was my debut in the World Championship.
Yeah,
so I was like super motivated to then make it a good year and
be as good as it possibly can
running.
Be. Yeah. The Donington round was a particularly difficult one. In front of your home crowd and friends and family from this side, as before you go over to Phillip Island. Talk us through that weekend, because that's the one that you can relate to most. It's a track you know well. You've had great success around there. Was that kind of a pivotal moment where you realised things kind of weren't where they could be because it's your direct comparison?
Yeah. That was like the turning point of my mentality, where I was like, okay, I'm not fit. Time will tell. I'll get better. I'll get faster. I don't know the tracks. There's a lot of factors. Right, get to Donington Park. Let's pull the pin a little bit here. Let's get up closer to the front.
If it was going to be anywhere, it was going to be there.
Yeah, I thought, right, let's do that. Roll out, feeling pretty good. But I just wasn't comfortable, ever. And I'm like riding around thinking, something's amiss here. Like, I'm putting in so much effort here, and I'm still not going faster than what I did on BSB bike. And I'm like, I started the weekend off on like 10th, 11th, then 12th, then 14th, then 17th. And
pace starts picking up.
And I'm like, something's not right here. I was doing my head in. And then a big crash, massive crash, trying too hard. Smacked my head, rattled me a little bit. Finished the weekend. The first race, I went from like 26th on the grid to like 12th in the race.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And I was like, all right. But I was ragged, mate. I was not healthy on the track. I thought, I can't sustain this. And I got a massive arm pump. I was knackered because I wasn't riding smooth, and like I was just riding beyond what was capable. And then it made me see things in a different light. And I left Donington Park frustrated as hell. And I thought, something ain't right. Need to make a change. The bike's not right, this and that, blah, blah, blah. You start going to the drawing board and trying to do a checklist. So then we went to the next round and we tried to implement a heap of changes that I thought would help us. Bit of information from the Gearlink squad, this and that, yeah. Where was I, this and that, starting to like compare things a little bit, because like you say, that was the direct comparison.
Yeah.
So once I did that, I'm thinking, we are miles away from anywhere. Did the changes, no help. Went to the next round, worse. I'm like, right, so that doesn't work. So we're in Most, and it's just as tough. And I'm like, then all of a sudden the doubt starts to creep in, and you start thinking negative. And it's the first time where I was like a little bit defeated, and I thought I'd put this effort into, and I got this belief in my head, and now all of a sudden the doubt started to creep in. And yeah, that's where we are now. Mentally we're having a tough time, but we're just digging in at the moment, and I'm sure things will change. Something will click, luck will be on my side, whatever. But yeah, it's a tough time at the moment trying to identify what's going on off the back of that Donington Park weekend.
This is a question I've never asked the rider before, and it's kind of just come to me, especially in the where we are now. What do you see when you look in the mirror? God, that's deep, isn't it?
Yeah, that's deep.
That's deep.
What do I see?
Because sometimes,
apart from a great-looking bloke,
there's a handsome Aussie looking back at you. There's not some slightly south-facing, nearly 50-year-old looking back trying to hide the wrinkles and colour his hair.
Well, wrinkles. I tell you, I've got a lot more wrinkles now than what I did when I started this year.
But just from a perspective, as is a racer, I say this all the time. It's what point do you look and say, do you know what? Is it me? And I'm not saying it is, but you go through the turning the bike upside down. You've thrown everything at it. You've thrown the kitchen sink at it with our great mate Dale Extance helping you out. Is there a point where you're in the mirror and you ask the questions for you?
Yeah, I'm the first person to reflect on me and criticize me. Like, I've never been one to be in denial and lie, and I reckon that's why I'm still sat here now, because I've been in many difficult situations in my career and I've just slogged it out and I've got through it and broke through it. So I think I'm quite good at looking within.
It's important for a rider, because some can't. Important.
If you can't, you last 5 minutes unless you've just got natural talent, and you can go the whole way just on natural talent, but you've got to progress. And one of my big things is like the mental aspect of racing. If it's slightly not right, you've got no chance. It's like you're riding a bike that's not quite right, and if you have a negative attitude towards the bike, or you finish before the weekend even starts. You might have half a chance if you have a positive attitude and you try and make it work.
Yeah.
That's just an example. But yeah, to be honest with you, what I look at myself in the mirror and I see a tired, broken man. I've had 5 seasons in one, this year. That's what it feels like. I've had 4 pre-seasons, It's been tough. It's been tough. And yeah, for sure, the mind, I need to be sharper, and I'm going to actively do things to help that. That's my next sort of thing that I'm going to try. I've never really gone down that way, but I'm going to try that, see if I can seek some help with a little bit of, I don't know what it is. I don't know yet. I'm just scratching the surface with that sort of thing, but do that. And then, but also I think there's a lot of factors outside my control that need to be adjusted, and I need help. So the rider needs as many tools as it can to succeed.
It's building the armour, isn't it?
There's so many different factors in the racing, as you know, and I think I balance that quite well with being hard on myself and then being hard on the team.
I think you're absolutely right in that respect. You've been in that situation before. You've challenged for championships. You've challenged for race wins. You've had a great amount of success on the British circuits with Gearlink Kawasaki, and you know what it takes to do that. But then stepping into the World Championship, if you were sat back in October, November time, the opportunity comes up again, what would you do?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thanks, mate. Because that leads from where you sat now. I'll give you some time to think about it.
Opportunity-wise, it would have to... Straight honest, if I was to stay in the World Championship next year, the opportunity would have to be bloody good. It would have to be lick your lips good. Yeah. Thinking, I need a bit of that.
We're having some of
Not
this.
just, I'm going to do it to stay in the World Championship.
That happens too often.
Yeah.
You're not outstaying your welcome, but you're also not... You're treading water.
Yeah, there's no point. You're kidding yourself.
Yeah.
You're kidding yourself. You're not going to go over there and beat those guys on... not a good bike, not a good crew, not the best fitness regime, which costs a lot of money, not the best, travelling plan, best hotels, motorhome at the track. I'm starting to count on, 300-400 grand exercise if you want to do it proper, serious level proper.
No question.
So that's what those guys are doing.
Yeah.
They're doing it to the level that you need to win the World Championship. So if you go over there and you're not doing it at that level, then there's no point going over there because you ain't going to beat them. Simple as that.
If you're not operating and thinking in the same way as I've forgotten his name. There's Domi
Agata.
Yeah, who's the other one? The big lad.
Baldassari. Bulliger, these guys.
And Nico Bulliger as well.
They've got serious regimes.
Yeah, and this, if you're not doing that, you cannot compete.
No.
Because there was a time where World Supersport had kind of drifted away a little bit, but this season, last season, it's come back with a bang.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult now to take that step from BSB Supersport. It's not Sam Lowe's time.
It's now way harder.
Yeah, because you've got ex-GP riders coming in that have had that grounding.
Yeah. VR46 Academy riders, training every day, every week with Valentino Rossi.
And some of the stories I've heard of Domi Agata, his training's incredible for what he does.
Yeah, animal. I'm walking the track
and that's just the girls
on a Thursday. Yeah. All right, okay. Don't know that side of things.
You don't? I'll tell you off air.
Yeah. Well, he looks like a bit of a boy, to be fair, but he's running past me on a Thursday, running laps of the track. He's just come from MotoGP racing the e-bikes, winning that championship as well, and you're just you're looking at him and you think you got life sorted for you. You know what I mean? You're putting the work. You're getting the results and you're happy as Larry. Yeah, I'm walking around with a cripple on a Thursday, unfit, on a bike that's probably not going to do the business. And
wondering why the hell
and
you're
I'm
there.
thinking, and it's costing me money.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, the hell am I doing here? Yeah.
Which is understandable. And it takes
the doubt creeps in,
to think that. And I think once you can have that mindset where you're not just in it for the kudos of being in World Supersport racing. You go like, hang on a minute, this isn't right. And I don't think anybody would, especially after hearing this, there's nobody that would raise an eyebrow if the best opportunity for you next season, was to come back to the UK, reignite that fire, reignite that hunger, whether it be in Supersport, Superstock, Superbike, whatever, to take that opportunity to come back with a good team, with a good package, with a package that you know can put you on the podium and challenge for race wins. I don't think anybody would cast a doubt on that for you.
Yeah, I think I look at my career. My career is 9 years old, and I've done a lot. Like, that's from start to now, my career. And, I've achieved a lot. I've got to a high level. I've done a lot of stuff. And I'm looking back at it with a lot of experience thinking, shit, I've done a lot. Well, I've got another 10 years in me.
Easy.
So I'm thinking, right, my career is young. I've got a lot to do. I can... The next move needs to be a strategic, smart one to get my name back on the map and start winning races.
It's not difficult to take a step to the side or a step slightly backwards to take a bigger step forward.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've done that with the Superbike. Went to the Superbike. Similar sort of story. Unfortunately, hurt myself, got injured. Year wasn't great. Bike team were not on a great sort of wavelength. They were finishing their career and it sort of fizzled out, really. And then I stepped back into British Supersport and I got my name back on the map and I earned myself the opportunity to go into the World Championship. So there's many ways to skin a cat, and there's the be-all and end-all. It's not Superbike. You don't have to be in Superbike to have a good career racing. Win true. British Championships in British Supersport, World Supersport. You can win World Championship. You don't have to win World Superbike Championship. You can go Moto 2. There's so many avenues at a high level to make a living and race for race wins.
A lot of the guys, when I have them on the podcast, and we go back to Matt Roberts for this one, and Dom Herberts and a few others, a book called Bounce, which is the story of a British and World Championship table tennis player, where people say, oh no, he's got talent, he's born with the talent, and it debunks that myth. So when you're looking at Domi Agata and people like that, and Nico Buliga, when you think that, especially when you think where Buliga's come from,
dark times.
Yeah. When he was the VR46 Academy, he was
golden boy, wasn't he?
He was the golden boy in the early days.
And then he got booted, really.
And then he got the flick. So when you see Domi Agata, I'm a big believer that the guys at the top of the game, are top of your game in Supersport when you're allowed to be. It's all the talent is equal, but it's opportunity that makes the difference. It's like the famous saying, like McGregor says, "This is not talent. This is not his rise." Everyone, you call it lucky. It's not luck. There's the harder you work, the luckier you get.
And years and years of sacrifice and hard work, and that anyone that's made a good go at any sort of elite sport is off the back of hard work and determination,
practice and opportunity.
And then you've got to have some luck to get an opportunity, something go your way, but then guess what? You got to be there to take it when it comes.
Exactly right, and realize it when it's there, because they're not always the most obvious opportunities.
Exactly.
So having the ability to recognize what the next step is also something that you can keep in your armory.
Yeah.
So as we sit here now, everybody's leaving at the Cadwell. It's Saturday night. We've done FP1. We've had free practice Saturday. What's next for Ben Currie? Where do you go from Cadwell, and with what mindset?
I think we go back home, keep doing the things I'm doing. The next step would be, there's some things that I want to do and try. I think they're necessary now. Explore them options, see if I can gain a little bit from that area, and then we re-roll out in a couple of weeks in France, Magny-Cours, and we start again. We're just like, right, fresh start. We've had 4 or 5 weeks off now. I've recharged. Time to throw 6 go for it. 6 rounds left in the season. Go for it. Let's get the maximum out of it we can. Finish in Australia. Look back, reflect, and then see what's on the table, And who knows? If it's back here in the BSB, back another year in the World Championship, I'm not sure. I am open to anything right now. But number one is to obviously win, like I said.
As we sit here, what's the perfect opportunity for you?
The perfect opportunity would be having... It's tough, actually, because...
I'm putting you on the spot today, mate.
It's tough, because I don't want to close doors, you see. I don't want to close doors.
It's not about closing doors. It's just
I think a really good... Okay, here, I'll do the political answer. The political answer is... Number one on the list, like I said, needs to be a good package and needs to win. But then it needs to have a pathway to something. Whether it's back into World Championship or on a superbike. It needs to have progression.
Yeah.
So I need to be with an outfit that has that progression.
Visible progression.
That's it. I need to have a road. I need to be able to build a relationship with a team that can take me to the next level, work with people that are on the next level that can take me to the next level, because I feel like I've got so much more to give. I've been doing what I've been doing, really, just me, doing it, learning, a bit of advice here and there, and people that relationships I've made that I've got in my corner,
Yeah.
But maybe it's going to take, a key person, a team, a certain manufacturer to take me to that next level, and I feel like I can kick on, win British Championships. I could have won a few by now, come agonisingly close. I feel like let me get over the line, let me win a British Championship or something like that, and then go back into the World Championship or go into British Superbike, something like that. I think that would be quite exciting.
For me, regardless of the World Superbike side of it, you have a huge amount of unfinished business here.
Yeah, I feel like for sure. I've come so close to winning a couple of British Supersport championships. And yeah, it's something I'd really like to do. I think I'd like to win that. But I need the right package. I need the right people around me. And if I can find that, and if somebody's listening that wants to do that, ring me, because I'm all ears.
If you haven't got Ben's number, get hold of me. It's no problem. You can get hold of me through the podcast. You get hold of Ben on his socials anyway. It's not difficult. Let's finish it on a high. What's been the good points for this year? What have you enjoyed most in parts of this year?
Got to see the world. I'm seeing the world actively. Get to see some amazing parts. Get to go some famous tracks and be a part of an unbelievable show. World Superbike this year. It's just amazing. I'm living my dream, really. But yeah, I'm living my dream. I need to get back to smiling and proper living the dream. You utilising this opportunity like we spoke about. So the good part is just travelling the world, living my dream.
Because I've been good, but we've been 37 minutes into this. It was never going to be an easy conversation from where you are, but I'll never finish it on a low. That's never going to happen. So what's been the best country you visited and the best track? Because it might not be in the same place. New tracks, obviously, for you.
I love Italy. Misano was cool. I could think of probably better tracks for sure, but I've missed 3 rounds. I've done 3 or 4, and I've got 6 to go.
Yeah.
So we should probably check in.
There's more. Yeah, we do another one at the end of the season, because there's more to go. There's more left than have been for you.
Yeah, I've got Barcelona. I've got Portimao. Think of that, Catalonia, cool, Portimao. I've got Argentina, and then I've got Lombok, Indonesia.
Argentina, that's just a ball ache to get to.
That's a nightmare. Write that one off. That won't be my favourite.
I don't know anybody that enjoys going to Argentina.
No one will enjoy Argentina. But Lombok...
It's like 2 planes and a camel ride to get there.
Yeah, well, literally, it's a nightmare travelling this year. Everywhere. It's different.
Yeah, have you found that? Because I've spoken to a few people that I know well in World Superbikes, and they've said the most difficult thing this season has been the change in travel.
It's just
the cost, so hard.
The logistic side of things, everything's just an absolute nightmare. It does my head in. But that we knew what we were getting into with the old travelling side. Yeah. You just got to get out and do it. But
same for everybody.
Yeah, it's been sound. It's been sound, and I've enjoyed it. I've been lucky enough to, the last round in Most, Losey invited me because I was out on my own. Mrs. stayed home. He invited me to stay in the motorhome. So, it was a special time, really. Did
Kirsty stay at home, or did she go on holiday to Greece?
She went on holiday, didn't she? Yeah, that's right. She was meant to stay at home. Anyway. But yeah.
I do my research without even thinking about it, man.
It was a special time because I got to I got to fly racing World Superbike, stay in a big motorhome, and that was living the dream.
Yeah.
That was living the dream, that's for sure.
This is all we need.
Get him on the pod.
Bradley Ray.
Yeah.
More than here. All right, driver.
Yeah.
You all right? I've just come for a bit of dinner. All right, mate.
Literally, you nailed that, haven't you?
Oh, I can do it. All right, do the Bradley impression.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Yeah, just a bit of cycling,
He'll
mate.
just want a little bit of something and a cup of tea, won't he? That's all he wants.
A cup of tea, bruv. That's all we need.
Yeah.
Cup of tea.
Funny.
There you go. So the debut of my Brad Ray
Yeah, that was a
impression.
good one, to be fair. I've got a few, but I'm going to keep them in the locker for another time.
Oh, mate, really?
We do it every day. We'll take
You're
the piss
out
out
on
of
the
him.
push bikes as well, aren't you, quite a bit?
Yeah, we talk every day, me and Brad and the boys. We got a couple of boys. We got a little group of us that just take the piss out of each other
Brilliant. Please take this
hourly.
on a regular basis.
Oh.
He deserves it, especially with that thing that he's trying to grow on his top lip.
He gets it proper.
Needs it.
Yeah.
Keeps him humble, keeps him grounded. Let him looking at his Stravas and trying to find KOMs that he can just arrive. And he did one at Thruxton. Looking at it on Strava, turns up, never been there, never seen it before, turns up and does a KOM.
Yeah, it's
And I said, what?
it's Brad to a T, really.
It is, isn't it? It's
Turn up on a Wednesday when you should be just chilling out, relaxing. No, let's go cycling. Anyway, that's another story.
Yeah, but they put him in his place at that crit that he did, didn't he? He's got to do a
spat
bit
out
more
the back.
practice. Yeah, he's got to do a bit more.
Oh, you told you about that, did he?
Oh, mate, I find out everything.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? He's like, bro, I had a cupcake and a coffee, and that was it, mate. I was finished. I was like, I wish I was there seeing you struggle, mate, because it pisses me off. You can just roll out of bed and just do things, but guess what? Reality check. You can't. You can't walk on water. You're in Cat 4. You're shit. All right. Get back to the drawing board. Go and do some practice.
Go and do some practice. Go and write your R1. At least you're all right on that. You need to get like Andy Levers, who works for Bonovo, who's doing the criteriums as well. Is that something you fancy doing? Are you building up to that, or are you just a happy
I dabbled
cyclist?
in it. I had a crack at one of them. Didn't do any good. I stayed in the peloton. I was happy.
Yeah.
I was like, that's fine. Peak tried another one, got spat out the back, and I thought, nah.
Not for me.
I can taste blood in my mouth from my lungs. I'm like, nah. I'll tell you what, I could think of better things to do for 45 minutes than this shit. It sucked. Every minute of it sucked. So, yeah, that's it. My career, my cycling career finished before it started, pretty much.
See, more honesty from Ben Currie. What more can we ask for? Mate, let's keep in touch through the rest of the season. We'll have a chat at the end of the year when you come back from Oz. I've no doubt you'll be at the bike show.
It depends when it is.
The bike show's December. It was this year, wasn't it?
I want to be back for December.
Are you going to stay? Well, okay, we can do something over Zoom or something like that.
I'm sorry to whatever team's got me. I'm not coming. It's in the contract already. It's on the
not
table.
Doing the bike show.
Yeah, it's just not happening. I'm in Australia. I haven't been back for years, 2-3 years.
Are you going to do Christmas and New Year?
I'm doing Christmas. I'm spending some time with family. I'm coming back recharged, a new man, and just ready to attack whatever.
Coming back with a new man, does Kirsty know?
Yeah, a new man. I'll probably come back with someone. I don't know who it will be. Someone will come back, but yeah, no, I'll be ready once I get back from Australia. I think that's what I need.
Yeah,
I need that now. I need that. Get back over
go
there.
home, mate.
The COVID thing screwed everything up, and then the injury. It's been a slog the last couple of years. It's been a slog. So go back, recharge, have some fun. My old man's there. Play some golf. Spend some time with mum. Live the dream.
Perfect. And do you know what? That's the perfect thing to end it on. You're smiling and you're positive.
That's it.
That's the bit that I love. That's the proper Ben Currie.
I'm going to send this to my therapist.
You can have a
say, here you
listen
go.
to it.
Just everything that's on my mind. And this is the roller coaster. I was sad at the start. Now look, I'm happy. So
they are, you see. Talk to Uncle Dave. He'll always pick you up.
Yeah,
so anytime you need him, mate, let me know. And even if we just have a chat off air, we don't need to do the podcast shit.
Definitely.
I'll pull you up out there.
Definitely.
I'll pull you up by the bootstraps. But
Beautiful.
mate, I wish you all the very
Appreciate
best
it.
for the rest of the season. Let's see that smile a little bit more.
Thanks a lot.
As the season unfolds. Tough times make tough people.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
they don't come much tougher, mate. Ben
Appreciate
Currie,
it, mate.
thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Once again, a massive thank you to Ben Currie for his openness and his honesty on where he is at the moment. Normally I lead into a chat with enjoy, but I didn't think it was quite apt when it was such a different conversation to our usual ones. I'd love nothing more than to see Ben at the forefront of World Supersport. He's definitely got the talent, but if it's a step back to British Superbikes or British Supersport, then as long as he's happy, then it's a good move. Next week, it's the first of a two-parter with McCann's Yamaha mechanic and Yamaha engine builder Kev Stevenson. Kev talks us through his time working with David Jeffries and his family before moving to Honda UK and then to Rob McElhenney to work with the likes of Hizzy, Simon Crafar, James Hayden, Sean Emmett, Anthony Gobert, Steve Plater, Gary Mason, and my partner in crime at Rich Energy OMG Racing, the early career of 2011 BSB champ Tommy Hill. We're recording part 2 on the Thursday evening of Snetterton, so that's the following Friday's show sorted already. Don't forget to give us a follow on the socials. Search for Off Track and Off Track Pod on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. And don't forget we still have the YouTube channel with all our TT interviews. All 7 of them on the YouTube channel. Search for Off Track Host and you'll find all the interviews there you need. And unfortunately my face appears on them, which I can only apologise for. So until next week with Kev Stevenson, look after yourselves. Bye-bye.